So I'd like to ask each of you, since you're on the front line, the question of what would be the net impact on prices, on jobs, from your perspective, if we were to export LNG and coal. And notwithstanding the treatise from my friend from Kentucky, Hopkinsville, Kentucky, I would like to know, do you have any concerns about climate change also, and what are those concerns? So, Mr. McGinn, if you would just start, what would be the net impact on prices and jobs for the American people?
Well, I think we look at clearly there are jobs in the production and transport of coal and the shipping of it, but we look at the impact on our economic activities in our cities and towns along the length of that train route, and we see negative impacts. You also have the health impacts. For example, 200 doctors in Bellingham spoke about the impacts of diesel exhaust and coal dust on people living near an export facility. We know in particular those can hit some of our minority communities harder who live closer to those train tracks or closer to the facilities. I mentioned the Lummi Indians' concern, who have lived for centuries on salmon, and their concern about the effects on salmon. So we see all of the positive economic activity in Seattle and our region, and the coal trains concern us. And of course we're worried about climate change, because what we do is we export the coal, and it comes back to us in the form of mercury emissions, which find their way into fish and find their way into all of our bodies. Comes back in the form of global warming, which has potentially devastating effects on our economy and quality of life. And that's why we, again, keep pointing to what we believe are more productive ways to create jobs.
Thank you, Congressman. Just to follow up on the mayor's comments, I would say this. I've already documented the economic lift from coal exports, 1,300 high-wage jobs for every million tons we export. I would say if you're concerned about the impact on your locality, I respect your opinion since you're a resident, but I'd say let's go to Virginia, to Norfolk, let's go to Baltimore, let's go to New Orleans, let's go down to the Gulf in Houston, Galveston, and I think you'll find that those ports exporting amounts of coal, they are most welcoming that economic activity and found those ports good neighbors. In terms of climate change, let me assure you that if you needed to write an EIS on what the impact is, it would be as follows. Stopping U.S. coal exports will not make any material change in global emissions of CO2. What it will do is it will deny the opportunity of billions of people accessing electricity, modern energy, as coal has over the last 2 decades.
I would like to hear from
and it will cost millions of jobs in the United States.
Mr. Eisenberg.
Thank you, Congressman. For speaking on both, and I'm not an economist, but I've read almost every study on the issue in terms of just about every study that's been done on LNG and coal exports. Almost every single one of them comes out with a net increase, including the ones that the government has put together, a net increase in jobs and minimal, if any, impacts on price. Again, those are studies not done by us, but some of them have been done by the government. That is almost pretty much uniformly what they say. On climate, manufacturers are committed to reducing greenhouse gas emissions, to being more efficient, to coming up with the technologies that will deal with climate change. It's a serious issue, and we take it very, very seriously. But again, as Mr. Quinn said, is this really? I mean, the issue that we're talking about today in the context of coal exports is: does climate belong in the NEPA review on a Section 10 Rivers and Harbors Act or a Section 404 permit to dredge and fill area for ships? And the answer really is no. Legally, it's no. And so, it just does not belong as part of this. We do think that we are at the table for a conversation on climate, but just not it doesn't belong legally in the context of this.
Gentleman's time's expired.